Hey guys, it is Tristan. I am so sorry I am so late. There has been lots going on, but I am finally here and we will have Near Mint with us at 7 o'clock. I'm super excited. I have been watching Omar and the bunch for a long time, so I'm definitely excited. Now, let's take a look. I figured beforehand. Wow! I got an echo. Um, Let me put the chat up. I figured beforehand, I want to talk about the solicitations. I was going to originally go over them in their entirety beforehand, but no, not Gem Mint, near da, 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 near mint. Near mint condition is coming on, not Gem Mint collectibles. But I know I always confuse them too, but regardless, I wanted to go over. Oh my god, my pop socket keeps falling. Sorry if I just broke your ears. I think it's kind of getting worn out. Or did you mix them up? No. I I put near mint condition on here. Did I put something wrong? Let me double check the chat, but I don't think so. Let me see. Wait, thought you said. I'm so confused. I don't know. I rather watch your streams than Friday Night Tights. Oh yeah, I forgot that goes on. So that's gonna be there's gonna be a lot of people watching that instead. I always try not to go on basically on Fridays because I forgot on Friday night just because I'm not subscribed to them. But I know Perch also does his. So I don't want to really like go on there and kind of like go in his time. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't want to be that person. So I try not to do Fridays, but I didn't see him have a link up and I'm like, yes, you are awesome. Thank you so much, Leo. We are having, let me pin the message. We are having Gem Mint. Oh God, did I put the wrong thing? Oh my gosh. I'm glad you caught that. No, I did not. Oh, maybe I did in the pinned comment. Oh, yep. That sounds like me. Where did I put it? I can't even, oh, there we go. Remove. All right, we're good. I was just in a frazzled trying to get here on relatively time. So yeah, sorry about that. Yes, near mint condition. Uncanny Omar will be joining at 7. He's doing his own thing till then. So now that we got all that out of the way, it's the weekend. Yes. So yeah, let's talk about solicitations. I don't know if we have time before he gets here, but I thought Mir was coming on in first and the Gem Mint later. No. No, just near mint. Just Omar. So I'm sorry for the confusion. I got all my titles and everything right. I was just when I was doing this, I basically was running behind and I was writing it real quick and I always, their channels are similar but not really. I don't know. All right, so it is near mint. They will be on in just a little bit. I want to talk about solicitations because I always, hello Teva, hello Figure Drawing, and Leo and Robert. I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring everyone. I'm frazzled. Hello Omnibus. Hello Raymond. I thought I saw Bianca too. I got done doing our video for Monday, right? I got done editing it, and it ended up being 45 minutes in total. And I had to upload it 3 times because fucking YouTube would not, kept rejecting it. They kept, because of one scene. Hello, Hooded Justice. West new video. Let me look and see what it is. Because 3 times they rejected it for scenes in Catwoman. Yes, we are doing the cringiest, quite possibly the worst superhero movie. Yes. Oh my God, Catwoman is horrible. So, speaking of solicitations, I did my own. Yes, I did see that. I haven't got a chance to check it out though. Let me look. Save and see what you're talking about. Thinking using my phone. DC living in an alternate reality. Is that the one you mean? Comics with Bueller. The drama is crazy sometimes. Learn early not to pay attention. You know what? That took me a little bit too long. And sometimes even like I just get so irritated with it. I don't know if you do the same. Make sure you guys check out Comics with Bueller. He has that Indiegogo going right now with Dan fucking Jurgens. That is not a joke. That is so cool. He is on the cover of Red Sonja. It is awesome. And I believe I will get with you, but I believe we are going to be doing something next week. But yes, check out Comics with Bueller. It's hard. Like it is hard to ignore some of the actual drama, right? Because there are outrage channels, and I don't shy away from talking about it, but there's actually what does that say? Nerdettes News? Oh, okay. So they updated Restream, and I had no idea, and I'm like, what is this little thing here? But yeah, it is hard. It's hard to ignore, right? So I need to do a better job about doing that. So Wes's newest video, I didn't see the actual article. Let me see here. We'll just kind of talk until he comes on, because I can always do a solicitations video, because guess what? That gives me a video I don't have to look up for. Okay. Oh, he's even got the archive link. What a guy. Just kidding. I mean, am I? Okay, so the story of how Superman came out as bisexual, it makes perfect sense. Okay, yes. I actually do know what video you're talking about now. I watched part of his video, and then he said like him and John Kent and Yara Flor had a relationship, and I was like, no, they didn't. All right, I'm just out. Sounds like y'all outraged. What am I outraged about? Oh, Machiavellian. That's a cool name. That is a really cool name. I love that word. It's so pretty. I just finished with work and we'll take a shower. True story. My biggest issue with this, and I reviewed the comic. He's so cool. All right. We got a West fan in the house. My biggest issue with this whole issue with John Kent, and it's not an issue. The issue is the marketing. Like Tom Taylor in this interview said, I don't want him to be known as bisexual Superman, but then he's going on Anderson Cooper going, so I made Superman, hello Bianca, Superman bisexual. Did you know he's bisexual? And the story can speak for itself. It is very good. Honestly, I didn't like issue 2. I will say that it felt very it felt like it needed I don't know. It just felt a little forced. That's the honest my honest opinion. But I like how we're even getting callbacks to stuff like in issue 5 where, you know, earmuffs, if anyone hasn't read it yet or doesn't want to be spoiled. We're even getting callbacks to that very first issue where we saw the, what do we call him? Gamorite? Can we call him Gamorites? Gamora person. And we saw him, you know, kind of get him out of that line of fire causing a forest fire. And we saw a call back to that. I do think they're setting it up. I do. If Anderson Cooper didn't seem a little, yeah, Anderson Cooper's a weird dude though. Like, I love Anderson Cooper. I don't watch him, but he's an entertaining individual. I don't even know what he's on, to be honest with you. Is he on MSNBC or something? I don't know. I haven't seen him in years. I liked him when he was younger. Like, there is something truly there. And I think it's funny because Perch mentioned it in his video today. There's something truly there with girls feeling comfortable around gay men. And then, like, Anderson Cooper is everything that is, like, a silver fox gay man. Like, he's super cute. I love it. I think he does good. It would be quite a plot twist if he were a villain. Yes. I do think by what we've heard from the likes of people. God, I will never do it. Friday night streams are going to be really bad. I should have known better, but I do think from the likes we've heard of Tom Taylor, it is very unlikely that we will actually see him as a villain. I think he wants him to stand on his own, but there's something there that what bugged me when I think it was the Anderson Cooper one with Tom Taylor. What bugged me a little bit is he's like, we wanted him to be his equal, so he had to be invulnerable. Like, what are you saying, that Superman could not have an equal that was just a normal person? Like, I get you don't want him to be the damsel in distress. Tell us what you really think, Tom Taylor. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. I'm like, any person could have been his equal. It didn't have to be somebody that was invulnerable. But regardless, if you like it, Amber Heard for Red Sonja movie. That's already cast. Basically, if you like it, then like it. That's totally fine. If you don't like it, that's okay too. I don't see why this is some big controversy. I'm enjoying it. I don't think Leo is. I could be about 99.5% sure of that you are not. Whatever your reasoning, that's your reasoning. But I'm not gonna let somebody sounds got choppy, but back to normal. Oh, I unshared my screen, and that may have been why. But basically, like, I'm a kind of at the point where I'm at my channel where I'm like, I'm not gonna let anybody steal my joy of what I like. Like, we can agree to disagree on things. That's pretty fucking normal. So, Anderson Cooper reports for news for fun. He is very rich. I'm sure. I don't know what I was listening to the other day. I don't remember what it was. They were talking about Anderson Cooper, and they were talking about, if you need anything gay, go to Anderson Cooper. And it was so funny. I wish I could remember what it was. It was shit, I don't remember. I find him comical. I don't have an issue with him, but let's be real. I don't watch news anyway. I just don't. It's depressing. It really is. What did I miss? You missed me basically talking about Anderson Cooper and Tom Taylor being a little bit of a kind of, I don't know if I'd say mild hypocrite, but just going into this I don't want him to be known only as bisexual. That's cool. That's cool. That's how it was with Kate Kane. That's great. But then don't go into the marketing like, hey, guess what we did? Because I think that's kind of their fault in a little bit. Comics and Finance, another great channel. Let me see here. Super chat. Thank you so much. The main issue with any legacy character is how to make the character different and still in the legacy of the original. That there was an AC interview. Okay, so isn't that why Tom Taylor went through and said, I didn't want to make him a copycat of his dad. I think those are a little bit nicer words. I think he said, I didn't want to make him a straight white savior. But I know people get triggered by that. But I think that's what he's trying to do. And what we're seeing on War World right now is fantastic. Like, really, really good. Thank you, Bianca. Baby Lemon looking for lemon characters. What is that? It has a visual description on here instead of. Now I got to go back to my chat because I was on Wes's video to see what it was. Now I can see it. On Restream, it just says Baby Lemon looking up to our Lemon character standing in the superhero position. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, if you like it, that's awesome. If you don't like it, that's awesome. No, I see it now, Bianca. I had to go on my phone and do it, but I'm like, what? So thank you guys both. War World Saga is freaking fantastic. Absolutely. Already it's one issue in, or well, a little like 1.5, right? Already I can tell you I like it more than Fear State. Oh, I'm gonna do a whole video on Fear State after Omega drops and Harley Quinn 8 and a couple others that are tying in the ends there. I felt like, I don't know about you guys, but Fear State felt like Tinian dropped the ball with the entire plot and was writing everything for either Department of Truth or Something is Killing the Children or House of Slaughter or his Substack stuff. But it wasn't the worst thing. I will say that. But you know what I wish they would have done? I was reading it last night. I actually thought about this. What if the whole time when we got that earmuffs for Batman 118, what if the whole time, if we would have gotten that scene where Miracle Molly is about to, put the mind bomb over everything, wouldn't that have been better to have her making and then do like a long flashback where she was fabricating every single part using Scarecrow, using Nakano, using every single part in that moving puzzle, and had the bad guy this whole time have been Miracle Molly? It would have been so much better. So much better. Like, I would have gained respect for the rest of that series. Though I will say Nightwing was really good this week. Best Batman title so far this week. Can I get a plug? I'll be on Robert's stream at 9 p.m. tonight playing Cahoots and more. Make sure you guys check out Robert's stream. Leo will be on there. Who you guys else are you having on? That's awesome. Yeah, Fear State is the first thing I did. Infamy. It's terrible. Like, there's plot hole after plot hole. And he introduced some really great new characters, but never fleshed them out. It's only controversial because people are still uncomfortable with their own sexuality. And yeah, I actually agree with that a lot. Everybody has to take their own time to get to know themselves. And a lot of times we've got great stories that teach us lessons. And I think that's a very, very valid point. I think they don't want to admit it, but deep down, they just want John to be 90% like his dad. People are extremely frictional to change, right? I am a creature of habit 100%. Every single thing I do nearly is habitual. But that's actually why I like change in my characters or in my books or in the story that I'm reading, because it teaches me not only how to live vicariously through them, but how to evolve myself, right? I know that sounds silly. I'm old as fuck saying that. But you learn in an instance that if somebody like John at 17, right? He's 17, can be okay with his sexuality. And if you're going to tell me that one kiss from Saturn Girl makes him straight, I am going to call bullshit on that. Just saying. But if you are going to, look at that evolution and maybe, kind of look at, is Son of Kal-El even canon? Yeah, of course it is. What made you think it wasn't? That was the first canonical kiss for John Kent. And then, I gotta say it. Third time this week I've said it. First canonical Ivy and Harley kiss. I love them so much. They're so freaking cute in that. Like, Ivy comes back to herself. And uses all of her little flower power. Yeah, flower power. And she makes everybody happy, and then they have a kiss. I really did like it. Fans accept Harley and Ivy being a thing, but cannot accept two men kissing. Doesn't make sense. Here's the thing. It's really weird, Brent. Where is it? Right here. I want to put it on the screen. There is a lot of pushback. I'm a huge Harley and Ivy fan. I love them separately. I love them together. I love Ivy, being an eco-terrorist or an anti-hero, or Harley being with, not so much with Joker anymore, but with Booster, we saw her recently, or with Ivy. I love them separately. I love them more together. There is a really weird amount of pushback that I've noticed that people don't like them. But with that being said, there is 3 times as much people that love them together like I do, right? So I don't get why, actually, to kind of expand upon your sentence here, I did a video the other day when I was talking about the first kisses, like Lois and Clark, Jay McNamara. I believe that I'm sure I'm saying his name wrong, and then of course, John. Both happened in the 5th issue of their series. People were like, "Oh, it's too soon," or "It's this. Why didn't you build this up? Why didn't you?" Wait, I'm showing you that it happened in the exact same amount of time and you're still moving the goalpost. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. It does make sense. We accept women being gay than women. It is what it is. And I think that's a conversation for a whole different day, but it's a shame. It really is. And actually when I had just some guy on here, we actually kind of talked about this when it comes to trans representation, right? He made a really valid point. A lot of times when you see trans characters in comic books, you saw it in Gail Simone, you're seeing it right now in Nubia and the Amazons. I believe Sina Grace introduced an X-Men also, I believe. But they're all women. That's a more widely accepted ability, right? Not near as many male trans are accepted as women. And I don't know what it is about our, biological makeup that makes us more tolerant of that. Not all of us, obviously, I'm using hyperbole, but the great majority of people are more tolerant of the female side of things. And I don't get it. So what am I was just rambling there and I missed a whole bunch. It's even silly when people can accept a figure. I love that. You know what? You are so right, Machiavellian. I think it's funny. I'm like, excuse me, sorry. In my original video when John actually when the solicitations came out and he came out, right? I'm like, you can accept that this motherfucker can fly and spit laser sexual? Do we live in the same reality? Is that too much? I know it's a bit of gaslighting. I get it. But I don't get it. I just don't. Happens in the anime community, Bianca said. Seen it for years. You know what? I've actually seen a weirdly, quite a bit of LGBTQ anime. I don't know if it's in my Google cards. Sorry, choppy. I'm moving around. I'm holding still, I swear. In my Google cards, I've weirdly seen like a lot of weird recommendations that for that, and then one on web called what? Okay, all right. I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna look at it. I really been enjoying the Wayne family adventures. It's really good. It's very slice of the life. Like if you're looking for action and adventure, stick with the comics. But it's very, very cute. So Rowan and Rowan Kent are definitely John Kent's descendants. Wait, are you saying that John Kent can't have children because he's bisexual? I'm so confused. I may have missed part of that conversation. Personally, I think the main problem is to see my boy experience. And I agree with you, Tava. I think a lot of people agree with you. There are a lot of stories that were missed while he was aged up. And I wish I knew who to blame because I would just 100% be like, Bendis, oh my gosh, choppy. Okay. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Am I good now? Sorry. But there were a lot of good stories that they could have told during those years. There were a lot of good stories between Damian and John. There were a lot of good like coming of age stories. There were a lot of good Super Sons. Come on, I love Super Sons. It's so good. Tomasi wasn't happy with John being aged up. I'm sure. Tomasi's so talented. I did a video the other day on who should be on Batman. Why did I not think of Tomasi? I was trying to think of people that are like working. Hi, Cat Face and Noah and Fainer. I'm sorry, I hope I said your name right. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if Tomasi would go back to Batman, but that would be ideal, right? I do think it is going to be. Oh God, I do think it's going to be Bendis. I'm not going to drop. I don't know. I'm not going to drop Batman. It makes me, I just don't want to. See what I just told you like 10 minutes ago? Creature of habit. Unwilling to drop it. I just can't. Needs to be on Superman or Wonder Woman. Oh, for Tomasi Samuel. Yeah, you know what? No, I disagree with you. I want both of those writers to stay where they're at. I like what Philip Kennedy Johnson's doing. I like Tom Taylor on Superboy or Superman, whatever. And I like Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad. So no, you're wrong. Don't say his name, you'll jinx it, right? Say it 3 times and it's for sure. Like, I do like Tomasi's Superman. I do. But I want to see this War World thing play out. It's the first event, or event in quotations, that I've actually been pretty damn excited for. Like, it's way already better than Future State. Joker War wasn't terrible. I felt like at least at that time Tinian was all in. Like, he was happy to be there. Now it just feels like it's kind of a waste, right? Like, he just is getting it over with. So I'm curious to see what the Abyss line will be with Joshua Williamson. Joshua Williamson's such a good writer. Such a good writer and kind of like a company man. I hate Future State. Oh, you didn't like Future State? I don't mind Future State, some of the stories. There we go, Samuel. Philip Kennedy Johnson can be on Superman. Wait, no. After the War World saga, hold on, Omar in. That is not how that should look. There we go. Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. Can you guys hear him?
I can hear you.
There we go. Hello and welcome.
Hey, are we live already?
Yes, we are. I should have warned you. I'm sorry.
I'm a pro. I've done this. I can do it live. Let's do it live. Yeah.
A time or two. So we were just talking about the current line. We were talking about War World Saga and Future State. I mean, no. Fear State.
Fear State, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one yet. We still got a couple issues. Now I actually always wanted to ask, I know you do a lot of omnibuses, collections, everything like that, but do you ever collect copies? I mean, do you collect floppies?
Not really, just because I'm reading everything through collected editions, and not to shame anybody that gets stuff every week. I think it's great. It keeps these things being made, but it's just I don't have the time anymore. Now, if it's something I really love or something I can't wait to read, like I will get something digitally. But usually I'm a trade waiter. That's what we're called. We're trade waiters.
Trade waiters. I like that. I wondered because I like a lot of when I first found you was when you did the Batman, where to start with Batman. And I'm like,
oh, okay.
I know there's always something in somebody's where to start list that I probably haven't read. So I always still watch those videos, even though I've read a lot of Batman. And I'm like, there's a lot of trades here. And I did see you did went through all the announcements, right? That just came up. Are you going to be I'm more DC.
DC's there's okay. We'll talk. We can still talk.
Are you going to be checking out any of the DC? I know you said there was Dream and there was Robins. Are you going to be checking any of those out?
Oh yeah, I can't wait for it. Like the first Nightwing trade or hardcover, I don't think it's out yet, and I'm really, really wanting to read that because I really like Tom Taylor's. Everything I've read by Tom Taylor has been freaking phenomenal. And is that an overstatement? I'm trying to think of something like, because every writer, I'm a Chris Claremont fanboy, right? But even Chris Claremont, I can admit, had his bad days. Everybody's entitled to that, but he still gets a pass because it's Chris freaking Claremont. Jeff Johns, same thing, had his bad days. But I'm trying to think of something that Tom Taylor wrote that I was like, I don't know about this, and I haven't found it yet. I say yet because there's always time, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I've enjoyed it. Everything that he's written. So I'm looking forward to reading Nightwing. He's my favorite DC character. So his take on Nightwing. So because I really like, there was this really underrated series called Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man that I think hardly anybody read, and it was so good. And I feel like Nightwing is like DC's Spider-Man, or vice versa, right? Like Spider-Man is Marvel's Nightwing, in the fact that they both look good in tights, I guess, and they're both like jumping off of buildings and have the same kind of acrobatic moves and stuff. And they're both witty and funny whenever they're throwing punches.
Yeah, and they both kind of are that like more compassionate character, I guess I would say. Like Nightwing's got a lot of heart, but so does Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like, and I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but you will not be disappointed with his run.
Okay. I mean, I have a comic book channel, you know, it happens.
Right.
People ask me, like, I knew how Nick Spencer's run was going to end before I even read it. And I finally read it and I was happy with the ending. Because people were like, "Oh my, you got to read this. We know you hate Sin's Past. We know you hate this story. Like, what do you think about this?" And I'm like, "Well, I haven't read it yet. I have to wait for the trade, but I assume it's going to do something with that particular story." So I've heard some things. My thing is always, you know, for a character that's been around so many years, how are they going to continue this off and on again relationship with Babs? Because Babs is like one of my Babs was Oracle growing up, and will probably always be Oracle. I love Oracle. I never really took to her as Batgirl, even though Gail Simone wrote her character. People really seem to like what's it called though, the Burnside Batgirl. I never, that one never really clicked with me, but I did like Gail Simone's run. And the Rebirth stuff was okay. And she seems like she was aged down a little bit, so it seemed like the characters wouldn't really be together either. But it's interesting to see how Tom Taylor's going to handle that relationship, because that's what fans want to see. At least that's what I want to see.
Oh yeah, he does a good job with fan service. I actually have a question from Robert. He said,
okay.
Do you think we'll get an Immortal Hawk omnibus, or do you think the Joe Bennett stuff will prevent it? Because they don't want him to have royalties.
that is a man. When it comes to collected editions, it's really difficult to guess what they're going to do, because I never thought we would get a Justice League International Volume 2 because of a certain writer that's in there that's a piece of human garbage. And you all can look that up, who that was. Because, I mean, he legit did some horrible things. He's serving prison time for it. And they still did it. And I wonder how they handled that. I wonder if they still, because of a contract, had to give this person money. I don't know how they. I mean, and the Joe Bennett thing is a lot different, right? Like he's not serving prison time or anything. He's not.
Right.
He said some things, and I understand. Even the writer himself, Al Ewing, separated himself from, like, I will no longer be working with Joe Bennett. But at the end of the day, it's a phenomenal story. I once I did an overview of the latest hardcover, and somebody asked in my comment section, like, how do you feel about talking about an artist that said so many evil things? And I go back to my, I don't know, it might be my age or whatever, but separating the artist from the art. And there's other people that worked on the book too. It's not like Joe Bennett made Immortal Hulk, right? It was a group of people, it was a collab. So it was, you know, Al Ewing was the colors, the letter. So to kind of, you're almost like punishing everybody, like the entire team, because Joe Bennett said some things. And I feel like, I don't think Marvel would do. I mean, look at the was it Spider-Gwen, for that matter. Spider-Gwen actually came out with an omnibus, and there's accusations against both of the creators. I think both of the creators. I can't keep up with the shit, honestly. I'll be honest with you. I cannot keep up with who's there's canceled and who's being accused of what. I will be honest with that. I'm too busy. It's not that I'm above that. It's just that I'm busy reading the content. And then usually my viewers let me know, oh, by the way, did you hear about this? And I sometimes have, and then sometimes I haven't. But I think it's both of the creators of Spider-Gwen. But anyway, they came out with an omnibus. So, I mean, it's a top seller. I don't see why they wouldn't. They might, wait a little bit, maybe, to wait for the hardcover. And by that time, maybe people will be not talking about it as much. I don't know. But I think it will come.
I do too. I think they're doing Batman's Grave. That was another one that coming out pretty soon, that a lot of people were, canceling Warren Ellis not that long ago, a couple times actually.
I think he's still on the list, right? Like he lost his job over at Netflix. Like he's no longer part of the Castlevania animation team, which they kind of spun off and did something else for a loophole in that contract. But yeah, you're right. I think sometimes I don't know. As a publisher, I don't know how they handle that, right? I think all it takes is a couple of tweets from somebody letting them know, hey, by the way, this creator did this, because that's happened before, right? That has stopped a few projects. That has stopped a few projects. But I don't know how they'll handle this. I think for the most part, they stay out of it, knowing that this is a collab thing. Like it's if an omnibus were to come out, it would not just be Joe Bennett's Immortal Hulk. It would be Immortal Hulk by Al Ewing and others.
Yeah, and then it's really not fair to the whole team. It's not fair to them. A lot of people love that run. It is beautiful. So I mean, I don't think there's any reason why it shouldn't.
There are still people that talk to that creator I was talking about on JLI that are like, this is the way I remember him. And when we did this, I remember how much fun we had. And that's the way I like to remember things. He's a different person now, where that stuff, that stuff happened after we made the book.
Yeah.
Or maybe I didn't know about it, right? And yeah, it's odd, right? Because you will have people that will be upset, genuinely upset that, oh my gosh, I can't believe Marvel's cashing in on Joe Bennett. Like, how dare they? For that matter, same thing with Warren Ellis on the Batman book, Batman's Grave, I believe that's what it's called. I have the hardcover over there because I haven't read it yet.
Oh, it's good. One more question for you. Yeah. What's the heaviest omnibus you've had? That's not the big Sin City book. For me, it's the Invisibles and Doom Patrol. Ooh.
Those are both big books. Final Night is pretty big. Oh, not Final Night. I keep saying that. Final Crisis is big. Blackest Night is the biggest DC book. But the heaviest book has to be Colossal Conan, the first one by Dark Horse Comics. That is the heaviest. And I know, because I was doing a video one time with my opening, was holding all these Omnis, and I said, God damn, like this book is heavy, because I was holding it at the bottom of all this stack of Omnis, and it was Colossal Conan. So it's a Dark Horse printing of that Kurt Busiek and Carrie Nord run.
I think is Darkest Night still the longest page count?
Blackest Night, yes, 1668 pages, I think. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Pages, and then but AVX, I think it's going to be 1680 pages. So Marvel was like 1668 pages. Shit, hold my beer.
Oh my gosh! So what got you into collecting Omnis?
There were two Omnis that were released before I got started. One was the Fantastic Four Omnibus, and then the other one was the Barnes & Noble Spider-Man Omnibus, Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus. And then when Uncanny came out, I remember I went to a shop and I found it, and I said, all right, I'm just going to stick to Uncanny. This is a cool way. I used to collect Marvel Masterworks, but if they start doing it, and I thought at the time, like, if they do this every year, oh my God, we're going to be in the 300s in like 10 years. Little did I know.
Little did you know that it would become an addiction, basically.
Yeah, well, but it's a good addiction, right? It beats all the other kind of addictions that are out there.
Yeah, that's for sure. What is
and the way they released them too, I didn't know. I really thought they were going to do Volume 1 this year, Volume 2 this year, Volume 3 this year, every year. But that's not the way they've been doing them, right? They've been doing them kind of smart, honestly. They've been doing them like, okay, we'll do Volume 1, and then we'll do New X-Men, which was Grant Morrison's run on New X-Men. And then we'll come back and do Dark Phoenix before Volume 2. So it's a smart move from a company, that's making money, like, to do this. And I think they figured out, though, like, what fans want, what they like, and they've just thrown a bunch of stuff out there. So no matter what you collected, unless you're a fan of Ghost Rider, I think, or Darkhawk, there's a book out there in omnibus format for you.
I think the only thing that drives me crazy about collected editions like that is If you look back at like Joker War, a lot of times they don't seem to have those tie-ins, those side issues. And I'm such a stickler for having like being a completionist. And I want all the tie-ins.
I'm the same way. And the way that I see it is like, okay, if I'm paying $100 for a book, it better have everything. The one that I always go back to is the Spider-Verse, the way Spider-Verse, the hardcover was collected. It's not an omnibus, but it's an oversized hardcover that was like 50, I think it's $50 or $75. I can't remember. But Spider-Verse did not collect Edge of the Spider-Verse in the reading order. Like even in the table of contents, it gives you a reading order guide. And it tells you where to read Edge of the Spider-Verse, but it's not collected in there. And that's where Spider-Gwen makes her first appearance. That's where these characters just show up. It's such a badly mapped book. I wish they would go back and redo that as an omnibus, honestly. There was a DC book, The Death and Return of Superman, the very first printing of that one got on my damn nerves because they left out the character of Matrix, which was Supergirl at the time. Because Dan Didio was like, no, we're not gonna talk about that Supergirl. We have a new Supergirl by Jeff Loeb and Michael Turner. That's our Supergirl. So they wanted to retcon her even out of collected editions. You know, can you imagine that these days? That was like their very first or their second omnibus they did. Like these days that would not fly. People would be on the internet bitching.
Right? Like they do every day, but yeah. Robert said, "I'm so glad Thunderbolt is finally getting an omnibus."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Volume 2 is coming out. I want to see that all the way through. I'll even take the shitty Fight Club year, or I think it was only 6 issues. But then yeah, we go into the Fabian Nicieza stuff. I can't wait for that. I love Thunderbolts. Very underrated series.
What is your favorite? Do you have a favorite or like a top 2 or 3 that I know there's so many, but is there something that you go to? Like, you know, everyone has comfort food, like mashed potatoes or something. Everyone has a comfort story too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love Avengers The Crossing. I love Avengers The Crossing. Nobody likes that book. Nobody likes that book. I love Avengers The Crossing. I don't care. But in the same sense, like, I've said this on my channel, so I don't mind. And I think I lose all kinds of credibility whenever I say this, but I'm not a big fan of the Ultimate Universe. I'm not a fan of Ultimate Spider-Man. To me, it was like, been there, done that. But to so many people, holy crap, it means the world to them. That was like their gateway to get into comics. That was their gateway to get into Marvel. That was their gateway to get into the 616 universe. Man. So
a lot of people have that nostalgia for it.
I respect that, but for me, you know, the Ultimate Universe wasn't for me. I was, I think, in my mid-20s when that stuff was coming out or something. It could be an age thing,
right? And it was treading new. It wasn't treading a whole lot of new ground. You know what I mean? Like it felt very repetitive. Not all of it. I'm just using generalities, but that's kind of how it seemed to me, at least, even for a DC fan.
That's right. You're more into DC. My goodness, man. I love, and that's the thing on my channel, you know, like Marvel, you know, I have a good communication and good relationship with Marvel. And I had a couple of contacts at DC, and sadly last year when WB let a lot of those people go, like I have no contact. Like I have a person, I have a contact, but they're too busy doing 5 other people's jobs to get back to me. So, how do I put this? Like, when people view my channel, I remember people asking me, like, why do you do so much Marvel stuff? And I remember thinking, well, in my head, I was like, well, it's because Marvel releases about 40% more books than DC does. Like, there's no way not to cover Marvel stuff. And I wish DC would. Because I've always been a big fan of competition. I think competition is good. Competition keeps people on their toes. I mentioned this on my channel several times, but you know, Marvel's doing things like these little niche omnis that, you know, it's for a certain group of people that really appreciate the stuff, but not everybody. Like they're doing things like August 1961, releasing every comic released in August 1961 and putting it into an omnibus format.
Oh, that's cool.
It is, but people were mad. They were like, how can they do that instead of like Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 6? And here's the thing. If the competition was releasing like Batman post-Crisis in omnibus format, more than likely Marvel would be like, okay, we need to put up, Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 6 up against that, or X-Men Omnibus Volume 6. And that's when I say competition is good. But
Yeah.
DC does like maybe 1 or 2 Omnis a month. Next year, I think they're doing 2 Omnis a month, whereas Marvel's releasing 10. And some people are like, well, that's oversaturating it. Yeah, maybe, but people are buying it. And I think Marvel's figured out the formula that not everybody's buying, not every collector that gets Omnis is buying every single Omnibus. So it's crazy. I can see some of the chat, by the way. It's just pretty cool. Because what are you using?
Restream. I actually use StreamYards for the longest time.
Yeah,
and
that's what I've been using.
Well, Restream has a bunch of features like you can have moving backgrounds and stuff, but mine doesn't. My computer doesn't load that well when I'm live doing that. It has a lot of really cool features, and it's $5 cheaper. I'm like, hell yeah, I can. I'm okay with that. I really like it.
Okay, cool. I'm always looking for new ways to improve it.
I know, I am too. I'm always trying to like look at different ways to improve my channel, and this one actually I think it's pretty good. Even bringing guests in, it's pretty good. So that's the thing. I have more Marvel collections than DC. DC has way more individual issues. I like to see I make up for with the collections, and I think I don't know. Right now, when it comes to DC, there's such a mess. Like they need to kind of get their shit together with everything.
It's how do I put it? It's difficult now that I've learned a lot of things in the last year behind the scenes. And I don't consider myself working, in the industry of comic books, but I have a better understanding of it. I used to, like, when I first started my channel, of course, I was very judgmental about these things because I didn't understand how these work. Like, I was like, why don't we have a Man of Steel Omnibus by John Byrne? What the hell? What's going on, DC? I have a better understanding, but I still don't have an answer for that question. Why the hell don't we have a Man of Steel Omnibus by John Byrne? Some people claim to think it was the copyrights, but if that's the fact, then how did we get a bunch of standard size hardcovers? Yeah, it's really weird. I have every year I do my top 20 most wanted Marvel Omnibus or top 20 most wanted DC Omnibus. I have a hard time doing a Marvel Omnibus because they seem to have touched just about everything that I wanted. Like they want everything that I've wanted just has about come out. DC on the other hand is like free game. Like we don't have any Peter David Omnibus at DC. We don't have any post-Crisis on Infinite Earths Omnibus for Batman, Superman. We have Wonder Woman by George Perez.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But that's really about it. I mean, those are your big guns. How do you not have a collection like that people have been wanting? It's really odd, but I like to I'm very hopeful with the things the way they're moving, but it's still really odd that we don't have these certain collections for a lot of these characters. So maybe in 2022, like I said, they're working on a Skeleton Crew. Maybe in 2022. And it's weird because we're getting things like The Question, which is one of my most wanted. But how in the world are we getting The Question before all these classic Batman stories or Superman stories? That's weird. And I love The Question. Don't get me wrong. Like I want The Question. But it's a really weird way to say, hey, here's an omnibus. Look, we're listening to you all. Yeah.
Clearly. and I get it. Like, there's a lot of really good stories they're missing out on. I noticed you bring your kids on from time to time. Is there any
I do.
Of the how they're doing the YAs more often? Is there anything that they like specifically, or are they like do they more interested in anime? Are they
this is crazy, dude. Like, both of my kids are into the Silver Age.
Wow.
I know.
That's so cool.
Okay, so I had an idea. Marvel started releasing these little books called the Mighty Marvel Masterworks, like collecting the first 10 issues of Spider-Man, Thor, Hulk, X-Men. And I was thinking, hey, this is the stuff I read, and I hated reading some of this stuff. I'll be honest, like X-Men is not that good at the beginning. Uh,
Right.
Thor was oh my gosh, Thor was a headache to me, even as a teenager. So I'm like, I wonder how kids would react to something like Thor these days. And they've been loving it. Like, I'm surprised they liked X-Men. I think their least favorite so far has been Fantastic Four, which surprised me because I thought Fantastic Four was good from the beginning, but I guess I was wrong, or my kids have different taste. Both of them really like that. Lydia likes characters like Miss Marvel. Alicia likes characters like she's more into Pokemon. Like that was her.
Aw.
That was her gateway, right, into comics. But as long as my kids are reading, I didn't care. And then Pokemon led into other manga, and now she's doing Marvel books. She's only 9. I say only 9, but I mean she's old enough to read this stuff.
Right.
And it's so interesting to like get their perspective of how comics were written back then by like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko. And you know, because a lot of people have this like, oh, women were treated wrong back then. But I think it's interesting because that was a question I was asked on a Saturday on my live stream. They were asking like, well, I mean, how are you going to talk to your kids about, you know, the treatment of women back then? And I remember thinking, I think my kids are smart enough to figure out that was a different time.
Right.
And dude, I'm not kidding. They were smart enough to like in the video. They were like, now you have to understand this was a different time.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was like, that was a really proud father moment because they were the ones that got it without me having to explain. By the way, you know, this was written when, you know, before integration. There's all these things that they caught that my dumbass didn't catch when I was a kid, I guess. So they're a lot smarter than I am in that aspect. But yeah, so both of them are into more of the Silver Age and then a few of the new characters. Lydia read like she didn't like Squirrel Girl, but she did like Wasp. She likes Thor, and she likes what was the other character? She really likes Spider-Man, which she gets that from her mom. Alicia really liked the Avengers, so she's more into the Avengers and that stuff. So, yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I've never heard anyone say that. You're raising them right, Robert.
I'm trying.
I think that's because Wonder Woman, George Perez run was one big story. Superman was divided by titles, and Batman was a series of story arcs for a few years.
You're absolutely right, but oh my goodness, man! Sometimes going back there, it's crazy to go back and read those stories, though. Of like, I love George Perez's Wonder Woman, but it is dialogue heavy, and some of the stuff kind of gets a little dull. So it's interesting that they're collecting that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah, but you're right about Batman being by different creators. It didn't really get taken off until about, you know, when I want to say when Jim Aparo came on board. Alan Grant, when those guys came on board, I think that's when it started becoming a monthly thing.
You know what I actually miss about that era? And I didn't even notice, like my brain didn't notice it until recently, is thought bubbles. We rarely have thought bubbles anymore whatsoever. And I know it's a silly thing to think about.
I love it. I love thought bubbles, dude.
I love knowing the inner monologue. Love knowing what the characters were thinking. And now I kind of have to infer. And I'm like, where did this go? This is like a lost art. Where did they go?
Thought bubbles would end an argument, though, because you knew what the characters were thinking. I knew what the characters were thinking, and that really helped out. So, yeah, I miss those two, by the way.
Yeah, those were like, I don't know. I don't know what the style of writing has changed quite a bit. You know, everything kind of evolves, but that was such a cool thing to know what your favorite character was thinking, even as a kid, heck, even as an adult. Are you kidding me? Like, I loved it. So, I had a question earlier from Teva. He said, what did you think about, we just recently had the DC fandom, right? So that kind of brings in all of, you know, they didn't do too much comics. I was a little disappointed, but they announced
Flash Boots for like 20 minutes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. He asked what you thought about the animated movies, specifically the Super Sons one.
I'm in. I'll watch them. I just, DC animation is hit and miss. I think
Yeah.
I was not a fan of Long Halloween, not because of the story, but because of the animation. You look like Archer, and there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
Archer, but it reminded me of Archer, and for some reason, I expected more from a movie type of quality when it comes to animation. Uh, I I kind of like the Red Hood arc. I thought that was pretty good, and I like the Death of Superman, Return of Superman. I was
Yep.
not a fan of the Killing Joke. I hated what they did with that story.
Oh my gosh.
Like
I
that.
don't think anyone likes that. It's
But
so
man,
bad.
you remember when they announced that? I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my god, we've got Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill back." And it's one of the greatest DC stories ever about Batman. How are they gonna mess? There's no way they can mess this up. Oh man.
And they messed it up. They messed it up so seriously bad. Did you happen to see
weird.
Injustice, the new animated Injustice?
I haven't yet.
Oh,
It's
okay.
another
Well,
Tom Taylor book that I like.
yeah,
No,
absolutely. Great source material. Terrible book. Terrible movie. Oh my
oh,
god.
it is.
Oh my god.
No.
It is so far removed from anything source material. It's a mess. Like, I feel like that should have. I love Invincible. And it's such a good like adaptation from the source material. They could have done the same with Injustice and put it on HBO Max, and it would have been a hit. But instead, they decided to cram it in an hour and a half. It's like, what are you doing? This is. Oh, it was probably the worst animation from them. Not even animation story, everything ever. It's so bad.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I probably will because people have asked me. But I haven't seen it yet, sadly.
Yeah, so, you're not missing out.
I want to thank you for having me on. This was really nice. I'm glad I jumped into a live stream. I've been drinking, so I didn't know what to expect. I thought you were gonna give me a heads up, and I'm like, oh, let's just do it. We'll go live.
I'm sorry. I figured I'd go live a little bit before because I knew you were busy, and we were gonna go over solicitations, and I'm like,
yeah, we can talk about whatever you want to now. I'm good. I've had a couple of drinks, and I'm still drinking, so. It's Friday night, baby. This is what I do now in my age. So what was your favorite animated DC movie then?
Oh boy, that's hard. I think just the more recent Justice League Dark. I can't remember. Apocalypse War, wasn't it? That was so good. But I love the magical characters. I love Constantine. I love Satana. So those characters to me, and they were like, it felt like that was the end of the really good animation from DC. That's when it switched over to the cheap.
They started hiring studios. Well, I mean, they've been hiring studios from overseas for a long time. I think for me, it was always the Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh God, yeah. You know what? That's a classic. A New Frontier.
Ooh,
always amazing stories.
But that's a great Darwin Cook story too, and the animation did it justice, I thought.
Yeah, and that's what I was disappointed about with the Long Halloween was you didn't get that Tim Sale art. Like, you didn't get that idea that it was more abstract and a little bit funky at times, but it's what made it so special. And they took that, like, maybe gave Joker a little bit of funky teeth, and that was the end of it.
Oh, man.
I think I broke up there for a second. I'm sorry. my mic was, it's, for some reason my computer is slow running with programs, and I've got to figure out a way to do it better, but every once in a while my mic will break up. But so what's your favorite character at comics?
Nightwing still.
Oh yeah,
Nightwing.
you said Nightwing.
Yeah, it's okay. Nightwing. Yeah, see a lot of myself in Nightwing. Well, not so much now that I'm older, but saw a lot of myself when I was younger in Nightwing. And he's a great character. He's one of these characters that's like, as a reader, you expect him to take over the cowl, right? Like, if something were to happen to Bruce Wayne and to die, he would be Batman, and that's happened a few times, more than once, right? Like not, and I'm not even talking about Prodigal or when after R.I.P. But he never wanted to become Batman. He respects Batman. He loves Bruce, but he would never be him. And I like that about him. It's like he wants to break away from the shadow. Whereas, like, I think Tim Drake would have been a perfect replacement for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Because Tim Drake is a detective. He is Bruce Wayne, a younger version of Bruce Wayne. Whereas Dick Grayson he's his own man. And even though he lives under the big shadow of his father, he tries his best, to be like him and mimic him, but be his own person. And I like that about his character. There's a lot of complexity to his character. And that's why he's had such a messed up love life too.
Right. Actually, that brings up a really interesting question. Talk about him taking over the mantle. How do you feel about mantle changeover? We're gonna get it with Aquaman, but they're going with Aquaman. You've got Jace Fox around. I know you got Wonder Girl. Like, there's so many different ways we're seeing DC kind of push these characters a little bit more to the forefront. Superman, John Kent. How do you feel about like mantles being taken over?
Well, DC has always had a sense of legacy, right?
Right.
Batman always had Robin. Aquaman had Aqualad. Wonder Woman had Wonder Girl. So it makes sense for that generation to start taking over. But I feel the same way about everything else in comics. You get old enough, you realize, oh, well, let's see how long this lasts.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, you go through the death of Superman 1 or 2 times, or you go through Batman being replaced by another character. It's always looking at the watch going, well, let's see how long this lasts. As a kid, oh my God. I mean, my Flash was Wally West.
Right.
My Flash was Wally West growing up because my first issue of DC Comics was Crisis on Infinite Earths number 8. So all I ever knew was Wally West. And then I started getting some back issues. But didn't matter. I had to wait a total of like 15 years before Barry Allen came back and became Flash again. So
yeah, even, and we finally got Wally.
Even though you think it's going to be forever, it doesn't matter. Things always go back to the way they were. And it's crazy. I can think of I can't think of a legacy character that's stuck. Has there been a legacy character that's stuck? Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Ooh, yeah.
Kal-El is Superman. And I mean, even with the new changes that are going on, has there ever been a character that's stuck? And I really thought Wally West was the answer to that question. But then we got Flash Rebirth.
Yeah, well, he's back again now. So I don't know that there really is. It always goes back to status quo. Like, comics is circular storytelling. You're going to get back to the beginning at some point. I don't think there's any, and even with the Green Lantern Corps, when there was only one ring, now there's multiple. So no, I don't think that there is.
I'm seeing a comment here from Neo Arcadia. You can argue Barry Allen is a legacy character. That is true, but I don't think like Silver Age characters count, right? Because even then you had Hal Jordan as Green Lantern instead of Allen. So I think for some reason Silver Age characters get a pass as they became the and yes, Wally West is still the Flash, but let's be honest, is he though? Because if you look at any movie or TV, who's the Flash in the TV show?
Barry. It's always Barry.
And who's the Flash in the movies?
Yep, Barry. Even though it's kind of Wally's personality, but Barry.
Absolutely, it is Wally's personality. But my Flash was always Wally West, and it's weird to see Barry, because Barry to me was always like almost like this guardian angel watching over Wally West that never was supposed to be here, and now he's here, and it felt so weird. Even with Jeff Johns writing Flash Rebirth, even with all that stuff. But like I said, it's all a matter of looking at the clock and waiting around for these things to come back to the way that you remember them. I mean, look at all the legacy characters of Marvel Comics: Thor, Wolverine, Captain America. How long did they last? and it seems like people would complain, and then within a few years they came back. So I like to think it's a story-driven thing or whatever, but more than likely it's probably a marketing thing most of the time. Oh, we need a new number 1. Let's go ahead and throw a new Batman out there. We need a new number 1. We need a new character to take over the role of Wonder Woman. As a kid, I love that stuff, though.
Yeah. Oh, I still do. I still do. I love like Yara Flor. I don't know if you read much from her, but she's an awesome like addition to the Wonder Woman family. Different, sassy, but definitely fun.
Yeah. Yellow Spider-Man saying Captain Marvel last and Marvel never came back. But look how long it took Carol to become Captain Marvel. And I'm sure that had a lot to do with the stories, because like Captain Marvel to me was Monica Rambeau when I was a kid. That was my Captain Marvel. And then we had Janice Vell. And then it seemed like they really, really pushed for Carol, even though she made the most sense, because let's face it, out of all the characters that could be Captain Marvel and should have been Captain Marvel, she had the roughest ride to get there. And a lot of that has to do with, of course, the writers. They just didn't know how to make her that important. And honestly, it wasn't until I wasn't a big fan of Kelly Sue DeConnick's run. There was I'm trying to think of that Carol Danvers story that I'm like, okay, this actually makes sense, because a lot of it felt like really forced, the way that they threw her in as Captain Marvel. But anyway, yeah, Monica Rambeau was my Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel was dead for so long. I mean, 2 decades, right, before Carol became Captain Marvel. So even then, we had that much of a gap.
I actually the newer running line of Captain Marvel, I haven't liked Carol as a character generally through most of her runs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really good. Like, I'm surprised that it took this long for me to like that character, but it's working. I think a lot of it has to do with like pushing a character that people necessarily aren't a fan of and trying to make it work. And I think a lot of people get annoyed with that character. And I don't know why. I don't know where originally that came from. I get it came from the movie eventually, but I don't know where.
Okay, so see, that's the way I felt about Carol becoming Captain Marvel. Like, to me, she didn't need to become Captain Marvel. To me, Carol was always binary, and then she became Warbird. So she was her own, she was her own character. But from a marketing standpoint, again, this is a business, right? You have to take a step back and look at it from the way they look at it. Okay, we're making movies. Holy crap. Who's our Wonder Woman counterpart? At the time, we don't have Storm. We don't have the X-Men. What are we going to do? We don't have a Wonder Woman counterpart. Who the hell remembers Princess Power, right? Or Power Princess, sorry. We need something. We need a Wonder Woman, right? Because DC has Wonder Woman, and they're going to make a movie about Wonder Woman. We need something. And I feel like a lot of what happened to Carol came from that, and it kind of trickled down, right? So editorial was like, okay, we need a writer. We need to make Carol Danvers Captain Marvel. It's been a long time coming. Because it felt like maybe they didn't want to take a chance with Monica Rambeau. But then Monica she wasn't going as Captain Marvel anyway. She was, what was she, like, Quantum? Like, I can't even remember what she was in Next Wave. But Photon, that was it. But by then, she had just separated herself so much from Captain Marvel, because we had Janice Vell since then. Mm-hmm. So now we have Carol. Okay, how do we make people believe Carol is going to be Captain Marvel? And within like one issue, it's how it happened. Like, and I think that's why a lot of people were upset. So,
what do you think about like obviously when we were younger, this was not a huge thing. Comic books, the characters associated, they were selling, but it was kind of a niche thing. Now you've got movies and TV shows. Are you a fan of the adaptations? Like, some of it is really great. I love a lot of the movies. But then some of it you get like Venom, where PG-13's in and it doesn't feel like Venom. Do you like the change, or do you are you kind of standoffish about it?
I'm okay with the movies being their own thing. Like that's a different genre, right? Like I know people are really passionate about the characters, and I am too. I remember when they casted Hugh Jackman. I was okay because I was like, I didn't know who that guy was. I'm sure, Australian guy playing a Canadian dude. Sure, let's whatever. People were upset that he was tall. So to me, you have to. I've learned to separate myself from that because the movies are never going to deliver what the comics did for me. But yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, and I like the thing is initially when it all kind of started, right? I was like, it's got to be true to source material. We've got to have this character like this. We got it, and I kind of had to step back and look and like just consider it a multiverse. It's just a separate universe on its own. And then I really got into them. But as far as like these characters existing in huge media, like Stargirl, I use that a lot on the CW. Stargirl, I absolutely love. I love anything by Jeff Johns. And seeing that character come to life is amazing. Teasing Mr. Bones of all characters in real life to me is like unfathomable.
I love that first season. It was so good.
That show is like a gem on the CW. Like CW is kind of, it's okay. Everybody has their own opinion on it, but that show is a gem. And Superman and Lois is another really good one too.
Oh, I've been watching that as well. Yeah, I dig that. I think CW gets a lot of hate, and rightly so, I will say.
Right.
And rightly so, because there is a reason why people call it, oh, that's like a CW show, or that seems like it has a CW budget. There's a reason why people say that, because of the things they tend to produce. But I'm good with Stargirl. I thought it was great, and of course, it helps that Jeff Johns, that's a tribute to his sister.
Yeah,
that passed away. So it is very important to him that this shows her spirit. And then, what I really liked though was Doom Patrol on HBO. I know that's HBO Max, but I really like Doom Patrol. I thought that was one of the truest adaptations of any comic book in television.
I know, it's so weird to me. Like, I'm way behind on Doom Patrol. I'm just finishing the first season. Actually, I have 2 more episodes. But like, Grant Morrison to me growing up was always like still is like the oddball. He could make weird things work. And then when I saw Danny the Street come to life, and it worked.
Nuts, right?
It's so good. It's so good. Like, the writing is fantastic. The people they picked are so. I absolutely love that show. Now, go on the other side of HBO Max and have shows like Titans. Oh boy, that's fun.
I didn't even finish the first season. I think that was, yeah. And even going into it, knowing that Robin said when he dropped the F-bomb,
oh yeah,
said, F Batman, I'm like, okay, maybe it's just that one time, and they're trying to be edgy to get those people to watch. Maybe the show won't be like that. Yeah, I don't know if it got better. I'm sure it might have. There are people obviously, there's people that still watch it. We're on season 3, right?
Yeah, but finished already.
I didn't even finish season 1. It was not for me. Happy for the people that like it. I think that's great if you enjoy it. But no, not for me. But Doom Patrol, that was my jam.
It's so good. What about indies? What's your favorite indie? Like, do you have a couple titles that you like?
Indie comic books?
Yeah, like, I don't necessarily mean crowdfunding. I mean Image.
I was gonna say, it's so hard to say indie now because indie back in the day was like Image or Dark Horse, right?
And right. That's still what I think of, though.
Yeah. So, okay, if we're talking Image and Dark Horse, oh my God, I just put down Once and Future, and I hadn't read that until yesterday, and I'm almost done with the first hardcover. Holy crap, that was good. I really like that.
Who is that by? I've heard of it. I've never read it. I've never picked it up.
It's Kieran Gillen, who did
oh God, yeah.
He did Die. He had a run on Uncanny X-Men. He's doing the Eternals, which to me by far that's like the best Eternals has been. And I know this might sound blasphemous, but I never dug Eternals, whether it was Jack Kirby or Neil Gaiman. They never clicked with me. But his run has been pretty good so far. And Dan Mora, who did Klaus with Grant Morrison, and Power Rangers and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who's a phenomenal artist. I really like his art.
So
Damn,
good.
that story is so good. It starts off with a bang. It kind of slows down a little bit, but then it picks back up. It's wonderful, and the hardcover is great. And that's one of my favorite ones. Stray Dogs, that was really good. It's one of my favorite reads.
I've heard so much good about that, and I slept on it.
You ever read it? Oh, you should read it. You should read it. It's really good. It's unless you, and I always like to warn people, like when I do my videos, like unless you love animals and you can't stand animals getting hurt, then don't read it, because I understand that there are people that can't read kids being hurt in any way,
right,
or animals being hurt, and I like to warn people ahead of time. But yeah, Stray Dogs is so good, completely unexpected, not what I thought it was going to be, and really enjoyed it. Let's see, what else am I enjoying? Something is killing the children, but I think everybody's enjoying that. I think
yeah,
that's nothing new. Really like Power Rangers, but I think most people that have been reading the comics have been enjoying that. And it's another book, Nocturne. That was really good. That was Scott Snyder and Tony S. Daniel.
Oh my god, Noctera or whatever.
Noctera, that's it. Yeah, so good.
Oh, so good.
I really like that.
That one's getting a TV show too. I don't know what on platform, but I know
they all 7 issues in, man. That's crazy.
And you know what? Department of Truth is also. I absolutely love Department of Truth. It's so good.
That's Matt Kent, right? Is that Matt Kent?
No, that's Tinian.
Tinian, yeah. Sorry. You know what? I read the first trade and I didn't dig it, but everybody tells me to keep going and get to the second trade. So I'm gonna give it a shot. Because that's how I do. So I'm gonna keep reading it for the people that have asked me to keep reading it, because apparently it means a lot to them.
Well, I think it's worth it too, like, especially because I'm always one of those weird people that are like, I know this is a conspiracy, but what if? So I love that idea of like looking into the weird aliens or Bigfoot, or I think in the first 6 issues they did the school shooting issue, right? I believe so.
Yes, in the first 6
issues. That it's like so emotional and so good. And Tinian for me is really good on indie. Put him on Batman and it just drops off. Like up until about what's that?
I liked his Detective Comics.
Oh, and his Justice League Dark was so good. But like after issue 105 of Batman or so, I'm kind of like, when is Joshua Williamson coming? Like just something new.
Who's on Batman now?
Is Tinian.
Okay. I thought he was
Williamson starts next issue though.
Okay. Then who's on Detective Comics?
Mariko Tamaki and Dan Mora.
Okay. Oh, see, Dan Mora, dude.
So good.
Okay, dude, you need to check out Once and Future. It's so good. Okay, how's Mariko Tamaki? Because she's hit and miss with me. Love her, a lot of her indie stuff. And in some of her mainstream stuff, I'm just not a fan of. So I'm wondering.
I don't like her She-Hulk, but I will say
you didn't like She-Hulk. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was, but her her Detective Comics is one of the best ongoings right now, and is doing circles around Tinian's Batman. It is fantastic. And then you've got Dan Mora's art.
Better than
it's Tinian. So good.
And I'm not saying anything about Mariko Tamaki. I love This One Summer. That spoke to me. I'm neither a little girl nor a lesbian, and I love that book so much. It's one of my favorite reads I've ever had. But for some reason, her superhero stuff never really stuck with me. I did like her Wolverine, even though she did something blasphemous by changing Honey Badger's name. That really bothered me. But her Wolverine was all right. Her She-Hulk was okay. But it was the Breaking Glass Harley Quinn that I did not dig that much. I didn't dig.
The art was beautiful. The art was really neat.
Yeah.
But the story was like, I don't know. Like, the nicest way to put it was a mess.
I have a lot of thoughts about that story. We did an old reader, new reader on the show, and I kind of made my co-host upset because I didn't like it. I didn't like the message.
Yes, and I think that was a lot of it. It was just, I
What's up,
think
BJ
once she
Kicks?
gets
Sorry, I was saying hi to BJ Kicks.
Oh, I love BJ Kicks. He's awesome.
guy.
He was on my morning brew not that long ago. He's such a good guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Really, really smart dude. And he just had Dennis Cohen on his show. That's awesome.
Oh
I'm gonna check that
wow.
out.
I did not see that. That's awesome, BJ. That's awesome. So Tamaki, I think the reason why it's so good is because it is superhero, right? But it's horror-esque. And I think that's where she gets her niche with this. Is she's able to write it in a very dark way. And that's why it works. Not necessarily because she's writing a cape, but because she's writing the horror aspect of a cape.
Interesting.
I choose Jorge Jimenez. Oh my God. Jorge Jimenez art is so beautiful. Like, there's a lot of really good artists at DC.
What did you call him?
Jorge Jimenez. Did I say it wrong?
Oh, you're adorable. No. People always correct me on all the names because I do butcher a lot of names. I do. Like, that's a thing with me. But that's Jorge Jimenez.
So I was way off.
I can get Latinos right. That's about it. But then Europeans and everybody else, I can butcher the crap. Oh my God, the French artists, the Swedes. I know I make them mad when I pronounce a name. But Latinos and Italians, that's all I can do, man. But yes, he is awesome.
There's times I even practice the names beforehand, and then I'm like recording, and I'm like, oh, I just completely butchered that. Yeah, I'm going with it. It's so bad.
Dude, and it's funny because on my show, people love correcting me. That's a thing, right? And then sometimes people try to correct me with the Latino names. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What are we doing here? Don't do this. Don't. Everybody else, yeah. If you want to correct me with like a French name, go for it. Don't bring the Latinos in there.
I said it the American way. That's right. I tried, but he's so talented. His art is so beautiful.
So good. And I'm thinking, yeah, like I think I've met him a couple of times. He's a super nice dude.
That's awesome.
Phenomenal artist, great guy. Yeah, I like this. I remember when he was doing he wasn't that well known. I remember looking at his art and I'm like, this guy's gonna blow up. So I'm glad he's on like flagship titles now. He's on Batman. He was on Justice League too for a while.
Yeah, and he did Super Sons. Beautiful. Yeah. Like the only way I could say that Fear State was worth it and got me through it was that art. It's phenomenal. Like the way he draws those brand new characters, like Miracle Molly and the Gardener and Punchline, like beautiful art. I absolutely
love Punchline's still a thing? I thought they got Punchline's still a thing. That's cool.
She's kind of a thing. She's a backup in a thing. She's okay. Like I love Punchline. She's my favorite of the Tinian creations. But she's been like pushed to the back and kind of working with Blue, like going up against her. I guess her nemesis is Bluebird. Like. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. She needs some love, that's for sure.
Tynian creation, right? And Tynian's another name I have a hard time with because people love correcting me on that one. I still don't know how to pronounce it, and I've looked up several interviews. I kind of gave up, and somebody told me his company's called Tiny Onion, so remember to pronounce it like that. So,
oh my God, that's why it's called that. I get his newsletter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why it's called that.
I was like, what a weird name. Oh my God. Now I'll never pronounce it wrong, at least.
Maybe. I think I'm still butchering it. What I was going to say is I'm so glad you said the art made you, get the book. Because one of the questions I get a lot is, what do I like? Do I prefer a story or the art? For me, it's comics, so it's both. I can keep reading a comic if the writing is good, or I can keep reading a comic if the writing is trash, but the art is phenomenal. So yeah, that's, it's both for me. There are several, and I'm not going to go into details because I know people hold these near and dear to their heart. There are several Image titles that I used to get that was primarily for the art and not the story. So
they're I don't think necessarily one's more important than the other. Like, I think they can balance each other out in a really good way, or one can hold the other in a really good way. But Jimenez, I'm gonna say it wrong. He's fantastic, and same with like there's so many good artists at DC. I think OG Image has not aged well now. I'd have to look back.
I still love it. I still love the old. Like I'm all in for the Cyberforce book. I've got all the deluxe hardcovers of Spawn. I love Image because of the art. I mean, I went to buy those books because of the artwork, so it means a lot to me. And a lot of other people are like that too.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a visual medium. You gotta have at least some decent art. There are some stories though. Even when I was talking about Department of Truth, at first I had to get used to that art style. It's very different. So there are sometimes like I guess a lot of times on my channel I use Riley Rossmo as an example, because sometimes his art works so good, like for a story like Robin King or The Batman Who Laughs. But it took me a while to get used to him on Harley Quinn, because I'm used to Amanda Connor. You know, like that was everything I loved in Harley Quinn when they were on that title. And even with Sam Humphries and stuff, it was very it's subjective. That we're just gonna say it's subjective.
Yeah. Like for me, I'm not a big fan of Jeff Lemire's artwork.
Oh yeah.
I love Sweet Tooth, but it was the story that kept me going. But I mean, I have friends that have a tattoo of Jeff Lemire's art. So I know how much people love his artwork, but for me, no. Like it does not work at any level. I mean,
very indie.
Yeah, but anyway, that's just my personal opinion. And like you said, it's all subjective. To me, it just never worked. So,
what did you happen to see the Netflix series Sweet Tooth?
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, it took away a lot.
It was a lot. Really, I feel the same way about Preacher though. You can't do Preacher on television.
No.
Boys is solid though. I really like what they did with the Boys.
Like it's better than the graphic novel in my opinion. Like
as a matter of fact,
it improved a lot.
I agree with that. And I love the Boys comic book. I loved it. I thought it was edgy, but it's Garth Ennis. You're used to that kind of stuff.
Right.
But holy crap, the TV show just completely flesh out a lot of these characters. Oh, I do need to get going. This was a lot of fun, Tristan. Thank you so much for having me on. Anytime you ever need me, just let me know, okay? I'm serious.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much, Omar. Make sure you guys check out his channel. It's pinned in the comment. See you later.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
I don't
Bye.
even know how to leave this thing. Oh, there it is. Leave. Okay, there we go.
There we go. Bye. Thank you. Well, that was fun. Oh, I knew he had to go at 8. I feel bad. I hope I didn't keep him over, but I always feel so bad when I am talking to people on here. I always think they think I'm super awkward. I'm like, almost after every single person I have on the channel, besides like Bianca, because she's awesome and she understands. Every time I'm like, I'm sorry, I was so weird. I try. It's so bad. But like I even with like I had Liana on a couple weeks ago. I'm like, I emailed her afterwards. I'm like, sorry, that was a little weird. I'm the best. That's right. I'm like, sorry, I was a little bit weird. I try to keep the conversation going, and sometimes I stumble over my words. She's like, knock it off. Don't email me like that. She's so sweet about it. I love it. But so let me take a look at the chat here. I missed a lot. Hello, Jean. I didn't get to say hi. I know. Hello, Gerard. Yeah, Bianca is the best too. She is too. She definitely does an awesome job. Oh yeah, you too, Robert. You're just as weird. That's right. I did not know that, BJ. I didn't know you had Dennis Cohen on there. I have to check that out. That is so cool. That's like a dream come true. That's why I was saying earlier about Bueller. He had Dan Jurgens working with him. That's amazing. Like, I love how a lot of these people, now that I've had a couple people on the channel, and talked to a couple people behind the scenes. I love how they're really humble. Like, even the ones you wouldn't think were necessarily going to be humble. Like, Dan Jurgens has done a lot. He's created a lot. He's also, basically written the death of Superman, written, Booster Gold beyond belief, even though I'm not a huge Booster fan, but whatever. He surprised me, just popped up in chat and made it happen. That is so cool. That is so freaking cool. That's what I love, because these people just want to interact with their audience. They want to make, they understand. For a lot of us, we've been fans for whether it's a day or 20 years. They understand that, we've put a lot of, our heart and soul into these characters, just like they have too. And to have them be that humble is so damn cool. Like that, I had respect for Dennis Cohen anyway, but to do that, that's really cool. And I know, recently, well, it was probably a few months ago, I know another instance happened with Jeffrey Thorne going on to Forced Adversity. He commented and everything else. I commented on somebody the other day. I won't say who because I don't want to be mean, but asking them about a business email to have them on, because they are probably one of my top 3 artists ever. So if you've been here, you may be able to figure out who I'm talking about. And they were super rude back. I'm like, come on now. Like, the majority of times they're super, super fucking nice. But yeah, that was an instance of not. So let me see what else you guys were talking about. I missed a lot. I'm still getting used to 2 and 1, right? Like doing both and being able. Okay. Jorge Jimenez. I know I'm saying that wrong. I'm gonna have to rewatch the stream, so I am able to actually get that right when he said it. Jean, Mariko doesn't write superheroes, she writes herself. It wasn't a Mark, was it? No, artist. I think you're thinking of Mark Russell. No, I don't know. Anyways, she does write superheroes, at least from everything I've read. Now, of course, we're not talking about She-Hulk here. I'm going off of her stuff with Detective Comics, and the stuff says it's YA. I really don't care for. I know some people might, but I am not Starfire. I reviewed it, and halfway through my review, I gave up. Her Harley Quinn, normally something even at a YA level, I would love. Not a fan of. But her Detective Comics, honestly, Gene, I would say give it a try. Give it a chance. Give it 2 issues. Right? Start with the Hugh Vile stuff. You're really gonna like it. If you're into horror, I guess would be the best way to put it. I don't know. I would love to hear your opinion after reading an issue, but I definitely think that it's something Tinian Batman has been dragging. Yeah, I'm gonna do a video about that. I'm not gonna drag him or anything, but I want to talk about all the plot holes when it comes to Fierce Day, all of that stuff. It has gotten boring is the nice way to put it. It's been for all the new characters I should love, because they're except for Ghostmaker, which I love him too. Most of them are female, right? We've got the Gardener. I got to finish her Secret Files tonight. I started reading that yesterday. Got Miracle Molly, Punchline. I thought there was more than that. Maybe not. But even so, all these characters I should love. She doesn't seem like she's doing them justice near as much as what I expected. I don't know. I bet you the only thing I hate is that they're going to be an afterthought, right? So a lot of times when new writers come on, they won't, use other people's creations that way. It definitely feels like, and I'm going to go over it in probably a video. Was my chat froze there for a second? But the way they're going with Detective Comics is becoming weekly for 12 weeks. Are they going Psycho Pirate? I don't know what's going on with it, but it definitely feels like they're already an afterthought, right? We already got leaks, earmuffs, that I guess Miracle Molly's going to jail. Like, okay, all right. What do you think of the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer? Ooh, that's a good question. I did a video on it, but we can talk about it for a minute. You know, the first trailer that they released, kind of the story trailer, right? Not that it's a video game, but it got me really excited. Like, I'm like, this looks really great. I can't wait. This last one felt very off. It didn't feel like it knew what it wanted to be. Like, it was very, the tone wasn't there. I don't think it was garbage. I know I kind of clickbaited, but but so does everybody else. That's not a good excuse. I still do, but it just wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting to be blown away, and I was kind of like, Stephen Strange, he kind of feels a little evil now. Like, he doesn't feel like himself. You see, like, Batman, Superman. Oh my God, Spider-Man fighting him, and it felt a little off. It feels like there's a lot going on, and I don't know how they're gonna do that. Like, in 2 hours, there's like, you gonna have the Sinister Six. What's his name just said Vulture was coming, right? So it feels like they're doing too much, right? Shameless clickbaiter. That's right. Gonna be my new MO. What about the Morbius trailer? Actually, that looks fantastic. Like, I know it's PG-13. I get that. That looks really good. Like, way more excited for Morbius than I am for Spider-Man. Like, the way he was using his powers, I know they retconned a few things, but yeah, it looks super awesome. Another thing I was excited for that's coming out today, Cowboy Bebop, and I have heard nothing good. Like, has anybody seen any issue or any episodes, whatever? I was excited for that, and now I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch it. I don't know. Hawkeye looks so good, Tava. Like, so good. I love oh, what is her name? Oh my goodness, I can't. Oh, she's cute. Haley Steinfeld. I love her. She's adorable. She's my newest girl crush. She's so cute. I love the concept of having it centered around Christmas and that, joyous feeling and da da da. I really hope it's good. You forgot about Cowboy Bebop. I know I want it to be good, but the shirtless Jared Leto whoa. Shirtless Jared Leto, how could it hurt? He looks like Morbius Jesus. Oh my gosh, I'm just clicking things everywhere. Hawkeye's not on till next week, but this week Cowboy Bebop came out, and honestly, like, it was one I was really looking forward to, and now, like, they made a lot of the character, like, I've seen Ed. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Oh boy, it's something. They changed a lot of the characters. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to see it. I don't even understand what Black Pill is. Oh, He-Man comes out Tuesday. Ooh, I told you. I know. I actually I think it was Clownfish TV. I watched earlier about it, and he did like all the changes, and I was like, fuck. Yeah, I feel like this is a little cringy, and I really like the idea of them using the panels, right? I thought that was a cool concept, like something new and something to add, to live action where we really haven't seen. I don't know. I still may at least check out the first episode and see if I want to go from there, but you were right. You were absolutely right. They added too much for the sake of being different, and even Ian didn't look like he wanted to be there. Yeah, that poor pup. That's sad. Think Matrix. There's a red pill, blue pill. I get that. But isn't black pill like MGTOW or something? That's what I always thought. Because I seen like a black pill stream and it was a bunch of dudes. I guess maybe I just assumed. But yeah, I thought that was are you watching Arcane yet? What is Arcane? Is that an anime? Is that one of them? Their animes for those children? I don't fucking know what it is. I'm so old. I do think I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is. Figures. I saw a post from Steve Bloom, the voice actor, that did the English dub of Cowboy Bebop Spike, and post response were divided in League of Legends shows. No. Arcane is a League of Legends animated. No, I haven't seen it. I don't know that I would like that. I don't know that I would. I don't know. I wouldn't you have to like the game? I know it's like, isn't that the game that made that song Legends Never Die? I love that song. It's so good, and you can use it for like any superhero thing. Okay, Blackpilled. Here we go. Figure drawing. Blackpilled is nothing matters, and there's nothing you can do to change anything. Well, that sounds pretty like terrible. Why would you want to be blackpilled? What in your life would make you want to be like that? Okay, so that actually makes sense. I think it was I seen a blackpilled stream a long time ago. I think it was Bounding into Comics, and they hate everything, and everything is terrible, and everything is woke, and that sounds like a really depressing way to live. So blackmail means defeatist. Yeah, that kind of sounds terrible. I wouldn't. No. Take to me, I'm not a fan of League, but the Arcane series. Oh, you know what? Maybe I have to check it out. I've seen Cowboy Bebop. It doesn't look good. No, Gene. That's all right. I'm gonna watch Arcane. Are you, Tristan? I might check it out. I don't know anything about it. I don't know. I feel like I'd be going in blind. Maybe that's extreme nihilism. That's what I wondered. Yeah, no, that sounds terrible. That sounds like a fucking terrible way to live. Like, that's what I saw, Gene, too. And I was like, what am I looking at? What did you do? Why did you do it? Like, it feels like you sound blackpilled on Netflix. Oh, it's one thing. I don't have to be super positive about everything. I seen that and I died a little bit inside. Like, I can't help it. I don't want it to ruin what I liked about it. I guess it wouldn't, because, just because one thing's bad doesn't mean that other thing doesn't exist. But when I seen Ed, I was like, no. What are you doing? We are all going in blind. I didn't see something. Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to check it out. That sounds, if you guys are suggesting it sounds better than Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop is another Netflix example of bad anime. Oh my God. Do you remember, Death Note? Like, what? No. Why? Like, what is that saying where it's like, you don't have to ask yourself, wait, what is it? Like, never mind. I totally don't know what I'm saying. We're like, they didn't even have Ian. Oh, hell. That sucks. It's like, what is that saying where it's like, just because you can doesn't mean you should? I think it is. Like, there's no reason that, it was funny as fuck. There's no reason why you shouldn't take, like, I feel like a lot of people don't take animation as a style of storytelling near seriously, right? So you feel like you have to do that live adaptation. You feel like it's not taken seriously as an art or a way of storytelling until you put it into live action. And I think we're kind of past that those days. Like, maybe 20 years ago, it wouldn't be taken seriously. Maybe even 10 years ago. But I do think there is a lot of really good, Invincible being one of them, a lot of what DC puts out for animation. I do, except for, Killing Joke. I do think that, you mean older Americans. Yeah, I guess so. I feel like people don't take it seriously. And I think maybe it's the comic book person in me, but I feel like it's just as viable as a form of storytelling than live action. Now, don't get me wrong, I love live action movies, but look what we've got. Like, compare DC EU to DC AU, right? Like, the movies from DC Comics besides Wonder Woman are an atrocity. Like, they are not made for me. And if you like them, that's great. But no. I'll watch Wonder Woman. I'll even watch Wonder Woman 1984. I'll go back to 1978 Superman, but I will not watch Man of Steel anymore. It is a mess. But there are plenty of animated Superman stories that are so much better. Like we were talking about earlier, New Frontier. Like, I know it's not just Superman, but there are plenty of really good ways to tell stories without having it to be live action. And you don't have to make it, right? You don't. Anime is really hard anyways, like just like comic books is. And America's still treating animation like a genre and not a medium. Like, yes, and that's actually a really good way to put it, Noah, because it's not it's a medium. It's a way of storytelling, and you don't have to make anything live action for it to be taken seriously these days. Like, you can get the, like, obviously stuff with like the Aquaman HBO Max series, that was a mess. But as far as like the other stuff, yeah, I don't know. I'm 100% against live action anime. Always have been. Besides Alita, has there been any that were even solid? I don't know that there was. Brad Bird's director of The Incredibles hates when people call animation a genre. I get it. That's what he does, right? The animated X-Men was the GOAT, right? I'm so excited for X-Men 97, and people are already starting. I'm like, I'm just gonna be excited. I don't care. Castlevania is one of the few adult. Oh yeah, we talked about that earlier. I don't know what they're doing with that now that Warren Ellis is gone. I feel like they lost kind of somebody that was, the focal point in one of the, you can't deny what Warren Ellis has done, right? For the comic book medium as a whole, and then for animation also. He's fantastic writer. It's a shame that they lost him. It's a shame all around when it comes to Warren Ellis. Samurai X live action is really good. Oh, okay. So there is some viable options out there. That's awesome. But I'm still in the last season of Castlevania. Oh, you better catch up, Bianca. Is that it? Is that the last season? Maybe live action animation remain dead. Yes. But I still don't think superheroes should. I still think we've got viable when it comes to superheroes being made into live action. We just need more James Gunn at DC or something. Because what they had before was not working. But I'm going to wrap up, guys. That was awesome. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys check out Uncanny Omar over at Near Mint Condition. Wonderful channel. A lot of really good collections. A lot of really good information over there. And he's a lot, like, I'm positive, but that dude can run circles around me with positivity, which is awesome. I love it. So definitely want to kind of platform more people that are a little bit more positive on this channel, and not so much about drama. But I will be talking about drama tomorrow, because I was kind of pissed off earlier. You'll see tomorrow. Oh, that's okay. I will see you guys tomorrow in the next one. And I have a stream on Sunday, community stream. Make sure you guys are there. Make sure you guys check out Robert's stream after. I will see